And I would like to say, let's go. Welcome to this workshop. So I decided to do this workshop because the world is moving a lot as well, and so there is different kind of strategies going on right now. And the question is right now, what is the best strategy for our group of people? Because depending if you are at the beginning of your career or if you have already experiences, the strategies are different. What I have seen as well that in the past years, it always have been interesting to have network. It always have been interesting to be seen, but now it's more like the entrepreneur are doing. So as I started to be an entrepreneur, I really had to look at how I position myself, how to be visible, and so on. And it was very like branding for businesses. What I have seen is that this knowledge, so we can transfer that to corporate or to employees. And that's something that I want to share today and to share why it is so and why maybe it's slightly different for women and how to make that happen. Okay. And at the end, I want you to take actions. So I'm going to share you a presentation I have prepared. Just going to start at the beginning, it's better. And I'm going to go on the presentation so that you can see me. Okay. So do you see all the presentation? Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Perfect. So visible, invisible, or in demand. So that's the strategy for us senior women. That's a group of great ladies I met a few years ago, and they all are very in demand. And I have witnesses for some of them how they did it. I found that really interesting. So today, what we are going to do is to see how jobs are actually filled. So the strategies that people use and why senior women become invisible at some moments in their career, the new strategy that we can use and how to integrate that in our life. I'm not really going to, I don't know, how many of you would like me to introduce myself? No, Rosa, no, thank you. So I'm not really going to introduce myself because if you are here, I think you have seen already what I do and so on. And I think during the presentation, so I might share a little bit about my experience and so on. So here is how jobs are actually filled. There is the referrals and networking, and it's about 25 to 40% of the way people are hired. It might be even more than that. In some statistics, so I looked at a lot of studies across US and across Europe. And referrals and networking is still very, very high. Then we have direct recruiting sourcing. So how many of you have been once or twice contacted by a recruiter asking if you are available or asking if someone else in your network is available? How many of you? You can just put your hand up or you can put a one in the chat. Yes, exactly. I know that as I was an engineer, so it was very often like that. So I have this job. Do you want it? And if I said no, then they always ask, do you have a colleague in your environment that wants it? So that means that the recruiter use referrals as well. So, and that 20 to 30% of the market. Then there is, we don't have it here. There is the company's website as well. It's about 20%. When you go in a big company and they have the application form and it's where you can find job. There is the job board. It's about 15 and 25%. Um, I don't know. Do you have some in mind, like Dropstone or all this kind of platform? And there is the agency and others. It's about 10 to 15%. The agencies and other, it's very specific. It's like Michael Page, they are looking for very specific people, like executive and so on. Or Manpower, it's very specific as well. It's like more interim people and so on. So that is not really something that we usually care of. But what we do usually, and I hope I have that here, is that there is the visible market. It's about 30–40% of the hires, and we spend maybe 90% of our time there. And there is the hidden market. And the hidden market is almost where everything happens, but we don't really spend that much time there. And what is really interesting is that when you have been, when your name have been dropped in the room, there is 7% more chance that you get hired because the company like the referrals. They feel more secured. So that means that if you have an interview in the hidden market because your name have been dropped in the room, so you have whatever happened, more chance to get the job, 7 times more chance to have the job than if you just go to the visible market and nobody dropped your name in the room. Okay, so most professionals spend 90% of their energy applying to jobs online, where it's very crowded. And the way I want to ah, I had a problem with my presentation just before, so that's why I'm a little bit. It's not exactly the end presentation that I wanted to show you. Anyway, what I wanted to have like an analogy is the when you go to vacation. So next week I'm going to be in Barcelona, for example. You go to vacation and then you have the very touristic street with all the restaurants and it's very busy. And then you really have to fight in order to get a table there. And the food is not even really good, but you really have kind of to fight or to be very passionate and so on. So that is the visible market where everybody is and where you really like fight in order to get the one seat, the one table. And then there is the hidden market. You go just a little bit further in the small streets and you have very nice restaurants. They are almost empty and it's the best food ever. The prices are better. You don't have to fight. And it's a little bit like that for the jobs as well. We all go in the very touristic streets in order to find our job, and we just have to go a few streets a little bit beside, and then we find the diamond, the best restaurant, the best job. In order to go there to find the best restaurant, indeed, we need sometimes a little bit of network. We need a little bit more research, but it's almost clear. It's almost a success when you find it because there is just a little bit of people knowing about it. So that's the slide I wanted to share to you, to show you, and it's the tourist street versus the hidden restaurant. So that is for the market, how it works. And really, if you don't believe that, do your research, look at what's going on. I know that for me, I had different job as a coach, as an employee, and now also sometimes I have hybrid stuff going on, and it was almost referrals. I think for all the job I had, it was referrals. So someone told me there is this job, and usually, let me just think about it. So nobody had time to really put an application online. So I got the job. There is even one employer, one that waited 1 year and a half to get me, because at the moment I wanted to have I went to the interview job. I just saw that I was pregnant like one day before, and though I thought I mean, why should I go for the interview when I know that I'm going to be pregnant, it wasn't not right. So I decided to call them, so I cannot do the interview because I'm pregnant, and I just I just see that now. And they waited more than 1 year to get me, and they never put any kind of application online. Just crazy. I was like, are you sure? So I mean, there is another French girl speaking French and being in the same field, but no, they wanted me. So that's possible. I have so many stories. I'm going to stop, but it's really like, when I think about it, it's just crazy. So that is what happened with the market. Do you have questions about that? If you have questions, you can open your mic, or you can put that in the chat if you prefer. It's up to you.
Yes, I would have one question.
Yes.
Um, when you talk about the hidden market, so how about the topic LinkedIn profile, with the area in the LinkedIn profile dedicated to references? Is it very important, not so important? Because,
I mm,
yeah.
yeah, I would, so LinkedIn is how to say that? I do believe it's very important to be on LinkedIn. I mean, almost over us, we met on LinkedIn somehow. Not all of us, but almost. So I do believe that LinkedIn is important. However, I do believe that LinkedIn cannot be the only strategy at all. And right now there is so many things going on LinkedIn, and on top of that, the AI going on. So if you look at, there is so many people say they get so many applications, and they are not really jobs, or the HR or the recruiters, they get so many emails or so many private messages that they don't even look at them. So the it cannot be the only one strategy.
Mhm.
I do believe it's important to have a clear LinkedIn profile, because if someone is really looking for something, it's nice to be found. And there is real people still like really looking at LinkedIn, and trying to find the right fit. So there is still human being connecting there, and making things happen. So yes, use it, but have something on the side as well. Have something else, and it's what I'm going to share as well today.
Mhm.
Yeah. Do you have other questions? Or if you have seen, or if you have an experience with like LinkedIn or with the market, so really share. So having said that, now about us women. We have a slightly disadvantage in comparison with our colleague men. Even on LinkedIn, it has been proven that if you post something, the same content, two posts the same content, but one is posted with the name of the person is the man, and one is posted the name of the person is the woman, the algorithm is going to push a little bit more the post of the man. So men are more visible. And there is a lot of bias for that. The algorithm is one bias, but there is others as well. Like when you are in a collective environment at work, usually the contribution of women are 34% less likely to be credited. So women are just less seen when they contribute to a project with other people. So the work is just slightly less seen. That is one bias. Another bias is really interesting. So because I did a lot of research about that last year, it's the women are evaluated on their past. Women are evaluated on the proof that they can deliver. So on the CV and so on, so the recruiters are going to look at all what she has done in the past and to see if she's a good fit for the job. Men, they are recruited or evaluated based on the potential, what they could eventually do in the future. So that means that when they evaluated women, they think at risk and they try to prove themselves that she's the right fit. When they try to hire men, they think at a chance and they look at what could be interesting or what kind of potential this person could have in the future. So we are not necessarily evaluated on the same base. And I am sure you heard of that women, when they apply to a job, they tend to apply only if they are 90% or 100% sure that they can deliver. They can do the job 100%. And then they apply. And men, they have 20%, but they kind of have like, it's going to be okay. And they just go and then they eventually think about the vision and then they try to sell their potential. What I find interesting is that it's not because we women are less, maybe less courageous, or it's just because the market, and I think we understood that kind of intuitively, the market looked at what we have done in the past. So we looked at what we have 100% of the qualification to be sure that we have a chance. And I know that if we have that in mind, we can change that. When we go to an interview, we can change that. We can stop to speak about what we have done in the past, but we can start to speak about our vision, our potential, how we will do things. Because it's exactly the kind of question that men get. It's not necessarily the question that we get. The question that we will get is more like, what are your results? Prove us that you have done that already in the past. So we can change, we can shift a little bit the interview and say, okay, let's speak about vision. Let's speak about strategies. Let's speak about why I'm the right person for that. And it's not necessarily written in my past successes or my past works. So I found that, yes.
If I may say something, this is really very interesting because women usually are based just on the emotional side. And that's why they need to prove that they have done something concrete, not just emotional beings. Probably when men or whatever they compare to their wife, or so they already have a lot of bias when there is a woman. So they need to make sure that she is reliable, she has a proven record, has results, and it can control her emotions.
Yes.
While the man, strangely enough, they judge them on potential, but a man will be the same in different situations or environments because they don't change much. While it's so biased because it's the woman who really should be judged on potential, because depending on the environment that you're giving them, they can either thrive or they can go down. So it's the opposite that should be happening actually in reality, because if you put a woman, it's like a flower in a good environment giving water, they can produce really very, very better than men. While men are constant, they are the same. So what is the potential? Okay, I give him something, he can work. And also men think they can control men easier than women because of their emotions. They can handle men more easy than a woman. And again, the hormones, the emotions. So this is something that, to be honest, I'm also HR on top of that. It's something that usually people take into consideration when they hire.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I think usually I also see a lot of women who are very successful, but they are so strong and they're like worse than men sometimes. But they have to prove that we're not just I'm delivering, and they have to deliver, by the way, results,
Yes.
results, and they are so strong, and they can just focus on work. They cannot be feminine, result, everything. No, they have to go into this framework, and otherwise you cannot succeed. So this is what I've seen so far as bias and struggling with women.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, and that comes to the likability penalty, which is exactly what you said about the emotions or about the behavior of women. And there is still this bias. And to be honest, all that is something that I didn't want to see, because I have always been in men environment, and I had a nice career. And for me, it was not a problem to be in a men environment. So I was like, no, I don't like this feminine stuff or this patriarchal stuff. I think we are a little bit above that. But as I did the researches and I went like review my engineer time, the 15 years I have been engineer, I was like, oh my God, there is things that I can so follow that. And even now I have a coaching session with a guy, I think it was 1 or 2 weeks ago, and he was in an environment which was a little bit more women oriented, and normally it's a very men oriented environment. And he has a big problem working with women. And every time he come back to this subject and we're like, what is your problem? So, and then every time he says that women are complicated and women are emotionally not stable, and women, and I kind of find that he's not very stable, to be honest, with his emotion. It's really like my interpretation of his behavior. But men don't see that. So when a woman is a little bit too assertive, they have problem with that. When a woman is a little bit too soft, they do see problem with that. And there is not so many men feeling just very confident with that and knowing how to handle it. So that is a penalty as well. There is a study as well showing, and that is amazing, that when a man speak in a room and is interrupted, so he doesn't like it, right? So when it's another man that interrupt him, it's okay. He doesn't like it, but it's okay. When a woman interrupt him, he doesn't like it at all. And he can be more aggressive with her afterwards, because being interrupted by a woman is not okay at all. For a woman, is if she is interrupted, she doesn't like, and she doesn't like it and point. So there is not, well, it's a man, it's a woman. It's just like there is no difference. She just, yeah, we don't do that. She doesn't like it. That's fine, but okay. For men, there is a difference between women and men, and they like it even less when it's a woman doing it. So this bias exists. I don't want to say men are bad people, women are great people. That's not my point, because sometimes women, we do exactly the same. We have exactly the same ways of thinking than men. So it has nothing to do with who is the best gender. It has to do that these biases are still in the society. They are here. So when we know they are here, we can do something about it. And there is no victimizing here. It's just like, lady, let us be more visible. And that is a little bit something that is on our way, but we can do something about it. Okay.
About this, I have a question. Has anyone thought about why is that?
Well, all about this bias, do you mean, or just one or two of them?
Yeah, where does it originate from, or what is enabling that bias? Because I have my own idea.
Yeah.
I'm curious to hear what other people think.
Does someone want to answer that, or to try to have the first answer for that?
I can try to answer part of it. I think that there's It's ingrained in the history of evolution and everything, how the role of men and women were shaped, and that is, I mean, we have the genes from many generations before in us, and it's a behavior that continues. So it's not that easy to break these societal norms that are so deeply ingrained in everyone. And I see that also in conversations that men and women have when they talk about raising their children, that still persists even if the parents try to be different, even if they try to raise their boys or girls in a different way than maybe they were raised, but the norms are still so deep inside.
Mm-hmm. And all of that feeds into what? Into creating men with natural abundance of confidence. They are naturally much more confident in any situation than most women. And because that layer already has been laid out for so many years that they should be considered for certain situations more preferred, more appropriate, more tolerated naturally, is always very much enabled by their abundance of confidence, whether it is really always well, how to say, feel whether the foundations of this confidence are really firm and strong and are supported. That is not always the case because we are all human, as women, as men. We are not perfect,
Sure.
neither of the genders. But my personal opinion, from everything I have observed, is that brainwashing that the society has been going through and continues imposing on everyone, because it's also for the men. I'm pretty sure I've heard many perspectives from the male side. They're not necessarily happy with all the responsibilities that are
Yes.
coming with that.
Yes.
They're happy to actually share responsibilities, but the societal pressure also fits into that. So that it all these different layers, because the confidence exists in also the layer of the how to say strategy to escape and to
Mm-hmm.
keep a role. It's really fascinating how they're supported, and I think in at least I managed to trickle it down up to the confidence that they still exude and make them naturally this bias to be so much easily triggered.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What happened as well is that in the work environment, at least in the private environment, it's not necessarily like that. But in the work environment, men have more network. They have more sponsors. They do things more together somehow, even if it's just like going out and have a beer. And so it's there is like still today there is still like 29% of men have senior sponsor. Now 36% of men have a sponsor, and women it's something like 29%. And the thing is that when you have a sponsor, and a sponsor is not a mentor necessarily, or sometimes they have mentors that become sponsors. They are the people opening the door for them. They are the people that say, hey, you need to talk to this person. You need to, they drop the names in the room. We women, we have less sponsors. What I have seen in the past years, because I have done that a lot, it's mentoring. So women, we have more mentors now, which is great. However, to be honest, mentoring is nice, but it's not enough. And it's something that I'm working with an organization in Frankfurt, because I am part of the program designers. Okay, yeah, sure, we need mentoring for women, but I can't anymore with these mentoring things. We need sponsorship. We need someone that opened the door for us, or that help us to open the right doors. And mentoring is still like Starbucks coffee and then speaking about all the things. Sponsoring is like opening the door, being in the right room, and doing the work. So that's something that is interesting, but I don't know. So in my time, like 20 years ago, I never heard about mentoring and sponsoring. What I knew is that my men colleague, they went together and they had beer and so on. But as a woman, it was difficult for me to be part of that. And to be honest, to be part of the 5 directors I was working with, having a beer with them, not really my favorite evening to spend. They had fun together, like going to Kino and looking at the last Marvel film. Or is it like, really? So it's really not me. And that is what's happening. So it's very natural things. And as well, because we take care more of our children and our parents and so on, we have less time as well to do stuff like that. That is a reality too. So that's what's happened. Again, I don't want to put ourselves as a victim. That's not my point. Just to know, okay, that is still part of our world. We need to do something with
How would you?
it. Yes.
Exactly. How would you do it? Because, for example, if I take the example of my company, it's an American company, so they are very cautious when it comes to harassment and all these things. They had a lot of, there. So there is an unspoken rule, a written rule, which says that when you cannot go out one-to-one with different sex. Like if a woman cannot, it has to be 2-person and then another one. So already it blocks you. So, for example, I want to speak with my chairman of the board. And because strategically I need a sponsor, not a mentor, which I had, and it's completely useless if you want to go up. If you want to learn, is good, but it's not helping. And that thing is blocking, because first you've put the blocks, because they feel the block, while my colleague, who is a man, he can just go out and say, "Oh, let's go for drinks or something," and they're just the two of them. There's not a third person. So, and I'm like, this is so unfair, because I want to speak strategic too. I want to speak like I have ideas, and I really want to show that I'm interested in sponsoring and also I can go to another woman, but the woman don't have that position that the men have. So, and when you go to a woman, they don't necessarily going to help you because you're a woman. They just think, okay, there are other people which are like men or women, but so it's even more difficult sometimes, women between each other. They're really supporting. So to have that access is so complicated, because first we think twice. And then there's awkwardness, and it shouldn't be the case, but it is, and it blocks already a lot of doors.
Yes, it
How
blocks
would you approach that?
Even before you ask, there is some blocks already. So there is different ways to approach that. Maybe I can share that a little bit later in the in the presentation, but it's a very valid point, and it's a very good point. But that's exactly the problem, right? So it's when there is these awkward things. That what do you do with that? And that is in the room. It's what we have all the time. Maybe we didn't really see that so clearly, but it's there, definitely. So how to do that? So what I wanted to share with you, we are going to do some exercise, ladies. No? So it's not just a talk. So I want you to work a little bit. So the strategy that I see is like usually when people come to me, like when women come to me and they want to go to the next level, because there is like 2 type of people that don't know what should be next level, and then we figure that out together. And then there is the people that they kind of know what should be next level, but oh my God, how can I go there? Usually there is the thing that say, maybe I am not skilled enough. Maybe my leadership is not strong enough. I hear that so often. Because they are in a men environment, and then I don't know, I am not heard, people don't think about me, somehow I don't know, I am not seen, and it must be me the problem, and it's because I am not vibrant enough, I am not inspiring enough, and my leadership is not strong enough. So that's usually the conclusion. And then self-confidence goes down and so on. So I don't agree at all. So usually the skills are good, the leadership are great, and the problem is that they are not seen because they are experienced, capable, reliable, hardworking, competent, but that's it. And when they are looking for a manager or for the name, they are just not seen. The name is not there. Yeah, you can have her in your team. She's great, but she's not going to be the leader of the team. And it's because she is not associated with a problem. She is not associated with the why should it be her and not someone else. So it's more an association problem than a capability problem or stuff like that. So what we need to be able to create is to be on the top of the mind. It's to be associated to a problem, is to be associated with, we have this problem, we should call her. And not him or whatever, but her. Because she's the one, because every time I hear about this problem, I hear her name. And I know that for me, it's exactly what happened. So I can say, I am a consultant and a coach. Nobody's going to come to me because there is thousands of coach and consultant in this world. But at the moment, I decided to be very niched and to say, okay, I am the coach for international women and to help them to have a meaningful and profitable career. That means that it's a very complex environment, and I want to help them to figure out what and how and why. And then we will find the way to make that happen. At the moment I started to position myself, so people started to contact me. And I am not better than before. Just now it's very clear how I want to help you and what I can do and where I really have like my passion. And it's exactly the same for employees. So I said that in one of my sessions, like project manager, I can't not hear this anymore because everybody comes, yeah, I'm project manager. Yeah, I meet thousands of project manager. But how can you make that in 1 week when I go to a networking event or I meet some people, if they tell me about something, it's going to be your name that's going to pop in my mind. And that's the biggest questions. So how to make that happen? That's another example that I found really interesting. And just the anecdote. I do this presentation with Gamma. And with Gamma, you can ask the AI to do pictures, right? And so I say, okay, so I want a fish chef, a cook, and every time he put me a man in the picture. Every time. I speak a lot about leadership, and every time it's a man. So if I say I want a person, he's going to give me a man. I have to say I want a woman, and then I'm going to get a woman. So that means that even in Gamma, the AI of Gamma to generate picture, always have in top of mind a man.
May I ask you what is Gamma, Christelle, please?
Gamma is like it's like a software where I do my presentations. So I put my text. So I think about my text. I think about what I want to say and so on. And then I put the script in Gamma, and Gamma do the presentation for me.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Okay. And then I can ask, yeah, can you put pictures and so on? And then I kind of there is two ways. It does the prompt for you, and it's always a man. or if there is a secretary and so on, it's going to be a girl. But if it's about leadership and about project manager and engineer and finance and so on, always going to be a man. I really always to have to go back in the prompt and to see, I don't want a person, I want a woman. And then I get a woman on the picture. So all the pictures before and after, they are going to be women because I went in the prompt and I wanted to change that. For this guy, I wanted to change that and now I'm going to let it. So that's bring you in our mind that we are not necessarily in top of the mind. Or if we are on top of the mind, it's because we worked to make that happen. So that's why I have a man there in the picture. So the fish chef principle. So it's like, let's say you are the boss of a restaurant, and it's a fish restaurant, and then your chef just leave, okay? And then you need a new chef. What do you do first? The first thing that you do, so you call a few friends of yours, or Friday evening when you have dinner at home with friends, my chef just left. I need a new one. Do you know a new one? And then the person would say, I know a chef, really good one, but it's a meat chef and not fish chef. And then the restaurant owner maybe will say, okay, I need a fish chef, but they will continue to discuss. And at some point, they say, okay, this meat chef is really good, right? And then, yeah, it's very good. Really, I love everything he cooks, and very punctual and very creative as well. I really love the way he always find new ways to cook the meat. And at some point, the guy will say, the owner of the restaurant will say, maybe I should meet him. Maybe if he's so good with meat, he can be so good with fish too. And it's what happens when you are very niched. And it's really the biggest problem that I can see when I do consulting for a business owner. They don't want to niche. They say, yeah, but if I niche too much, I'm going to lose so many other clients that could be potentially my clients. Not true. Niche yourself like this guy, like being a great fish chef. And then if they want another great chef, his name is going to be dropped. And maybe he's going to have his chance, because at the end, what you are looking for, it's a character, it's a person that is able to develop competencies. And if he was able to do that with fish, he can do that with meat, or vice versa. And it's what happened like last week, I think. So a guy emailed me and he made his case. He told me, yes, here is my problem, blah, 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 blah. And at the end, he wrote, so I know normally you coach women, but I hope I made my case interesting enough that you coach me too. I was like, sure, I have no problem with men, so happy to coach you too. But, it's what happened. So that's why it's really interesting to niche yourself and to know where you are the best, because when you can extract where you are the best, your best competencies, so people are going to be attracted to you, even if it's to do something else or another environment. So now, how to make that happen? How to make that happen so that people can remember you. So there is one thing that I love to do, and I know that for some of you, I spoke about it already, is really to understand your, what I call leadership DNA. It's really to understand what drives you, how you do things, and what you do. So the first thing is know yourself. Is what I do very often is that I ask people to understand their values and the non-negotiables, and what really what experiences shape them. So we work on stories in order to understand why what is so important to you today is so important. For me, for instance, I really love to understand the strengths of people, really what makes them so individual. because as a child, I have been forced to be pushed in like in a box. And it was even kind of dangerous for me to go out of the box. So I really learned to fit in and to try to be kind of invisible. And I have seen that how unhappy that made me during my career. And so until I decided to just pop out of the box and to say, okay, now it's me, I'm going to do the way I want to have it. So, and that's why I'm so passionate about finding this strength, finding this diamond in the people, and finding the way to make that shine and to build a career around that. So that is my motivation. That is because it comes really from as I have been 6 years old and 10 years old and so on. When you know that, you know your values, but you can explain them and you can make it even very personal. And when it's personal, so people say, oh, okay, it's not just a job, there is something there. And people love to connect with other human beings, not only machines. So that's the first thing, know yourself. After that, it's trust yourself. It's your strength. What you bring on the table. What are your strengths or your skills? Both. Usually we kind of know our skills, we kind of not know our strength. And it's something that I work intensively with because it's going to help you to be stronger and to say, oh, I'm doing the things this way and I know it works. And even if you want, I can give you past example, or I can give you future examples. So with what is the problem and how I think I'm going to solve it, because I know exactly my strength. So it's how you do things. And then choose yourself is what impact you want to have. What is the things that you want to achieve in your life? And usually you can know that sometimes come from your stories. It's very clear after that, yeah, now I understand why. And now I really understand the impact I want to have. And when you have that, know yourself, trust yourself, choose yourself, you can be clear about who you are, how you do things, how you lead people, and what kind of impact you want to have. And it can be beyond the company you work with, or it can be your business, and that's why you wanted to create it. So it can be very, very powerful. That is something that you can use everywhere. So I have here like two sentences that can help you to draft like your leadership statement or your leadership insights, and to be honest, it's almost more for you than for other people, is to have this clarity inside of you, to be able in 1-2 minutes to just share who you are and why it's so important to you. So I would like to give you 5 minutes to think about it. If you had to complete this sentence, I lead with, and to find that kind of the strength that you have to create and what kind of impact you want to create. Or another one is I and the contribution you give, so that the impact you have. Like in this one, that for me it will be I coach international women to help them to have a meaningful and profitable career. That will be my contribution. The impact, I could say that it would be a meaningful and profitable career, but to be honest, so I have even a higher impact, is that if a woman feels so aligned with herself, I do believe that she shines for others. She shines for her children. She shines for a small ecosystem, and it would be a better world if we could do that, all of us. And I have that indeed. So I start to see that with my clients. So this morning, so I had like a coaching session. It was like amazing. I cried, to be honest. So it's a little bit peinlich a little bit. Yeah, not so professional, but it was so beautiful what she shared, so positive. Yeah, we cried from joy and beauty. So that is my contribution and my impact. So you have 5 minutes. Do you have questions before I let you start and think about this? No questions? Then I would say try to find something, even if it's not perfect, it's fine. Just to be clear in your mind. At the end of your life, when you go back to your life, when you have a look at your life, what is the kind of impact you would like to have? The contribution you would have done in your life, or the contributions. For some of you, if you are finished, you can, if you want, put that in the chat. Or maybe later you can read that. So 1 minute left. Okay. So 5 minutes are over. How many of you have something? Oh, okay, nice, Omeza. Did you work on it already? Yes. Okay. Who else would like to share as well?
Shall we write or shall we say it?
Oh, you can say if you want.
Okay, because it would be easier than typing it. So, I mean, here I was using quite a little bit the same start you had here. So I lead by building strong relationships with my employees and also stakeholders, in recognizing also the unique competencies they have and use these competencies to move the project forward.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, Corinne, you can add as well, like you are good in crisis environment or in
Yeah.
environment under pressure or stuff like that, because it's something very specific in your case.
Yeah, that's the second one was I lead by focusing how to solve the project the problem either in the professional on a professional way or on a private way.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I can share mine also.
Yes.
So it was difficult to put it all in one sentence. I used the two sentences to describe different things. So I lead with a deep understanding of people's strength and potential to create a learning and development journey that truly enables and empowers individuals.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
And the other one is I build bridges across cultures to foster a deep understanding and effective collaboration across multicultural teams.
And what you can all look at, what is the impact when that happens? What kind of results, the benefits the company has when the company or the people. I mean, in my case, it's not necessarily the company, it's like the people. I do believe that when we all are aligned and use our full potential, we have a nice life, and then the world would be a better place. So that is the impact that makes me every morning wake up and go for it. So what you all look at is like really looking at what is the impact that you have if you work for a company, or it's really depending on how you see things. For me, it's really all about people. I'm not really that much about system. There is people that are more system oriented. There's people that are more people oriented. I'm definitely more people oriented. Systems are less attractive for me. But there is some people, it's exactly the opposite. So what is the benefit, the impact, the benefit that you have when you do that? When you use your creativity, when you use when you can see in people and develop people, what is the impact that you want to have at the end? Is it for just to like solve the problem, or for the good of the people, or I don't know.
I realized that I somehow misunderstood the task, and I focused in my answer mostly in my future wishes. But maybe if we have to translate it into the current profession,
No, that's a good point.
yeah, 'cause I literally focused entirely on how I want to vision my career change for the future.
Perfect.
And I see it perhaps differently than what currently is. Yeah.
Perfect. I mean, as I was an engineer, so my DNA would have been something like I was very good at opening countries for my companies or the company I was working for. It was always what I have to do, like to open a new market, to open a new company. So it would have been something like still really like trying to connect as much as possible with my distributor, to understand the culture, to understand the people, so that they can thrive and they can sell the product. That was my way of doing. And if I still would be passionate about this thing and wanting to be discovered for that, is something that I would put on my LinkedIn. Now it's completely different. The way I do that, so my strengths are the same, to be honest. The same way. I would use the same way of doing. In my case, the problem is that I had no connection with this job emotionally. So I was always thinking why I'm doing that. So I didn't really see the impact. And I didn't really understand, like when I saw all my stories, it had nothing to do with selling my machine all over the world. And I felt completely empty because of that. So, and that's why I was depressive and burned and so on. So, in your case, Diana, you are in a transition. So you are already like in your future job. So I do believe it's interesting to look at how you want things to be, the kind of impact you want to have in the future, and not what happened in the past. So, yeah.
Great.
Okay, so that is the first thing. So try to be, I mean, you don't have to be clear in one day. It's something that sometimes we spend hours to fine tune that. And it's even more complicated when we change career, when we do like a big career shift, pivot. Then we really have to think what it is really the contribution that I want to have, what is really the impact I want to have. And this process sometimes is a long process, because we have to let go of the how to say that, the what we think is possible, what we think is not possible, what all the conditioning that we had in the past. So we have to get rid of it in order for our brain to see other options and to understand what is the real contribution and the real impact I want to have in my life. So it's a big part of the process. For the ones that are just fine in their career, so you just have to analyze a bit and then you find it. It's easier. So that's the first thing. It's really to be clear about you. The second thing is that what people say when you are not in the room. It's kind of the same. Huh? It's just another way to think about it. It's okay, when I am not in the room, there is different things. Maybe we never speak about me, which is not good. Maybe we speak about me, but not the way I want. And maybe we speak about me and exactly the way I want. So what it is, and I think it's very important to know, how do you want people to speak about you? What are the adjectives you want people to say about you? What are verbs you want people to say about you? What are names you want people to say about you? I do a work that is called the identity, and to really look at what is the identity that you want to have like on your front or on your brain, so that people can read that. Do you want to be seen as operative person? Do you want to be seen as an executive person? Do you want to be seen as the go-to person for whatever? What are the adjectives that you would love that people say about you? Maybe you have heard them already. Maybe you don't know, and that's the right moment to think about it. So I can let you imagine during like 3-5 minutes what would you like your boss or your colleagues or your ex-colleague, maybe like the company that you left 5 years ago, you would like them to say about you. Or maybe in 5 years, how people should speak about you so that you feel satisfied.
Can we
So
use one of the things that you put here? Because this is really something that resonates with
yes.
me, and is something that I was already, okay.
Yeah, sure. If it's resonate, it's right. So yeah, use what feels right. Okay, 1 minute left. Right. So it's this like corridor sentence or this leadership DNA. It's really like inner work, something that you need to work on so that you are clear. The most important that you are clear about what you bring on the table, what the impact, your values, your way of doing things. It's really for you to be clear about that, because when you are clear about that, then you can start to communicate it in very subtle way, in very direct way, in like even if you don't think about it, when you are clear about it, it's going to be transport. People are going to start to feel it, to understand it. And there's where we can start some strategy. So one place where it's really nice to have it clear, it's your LinkedIn headline. It's I said before, I don't believe that LinkedIn should be the only strategy. But what people do is when they have your name, they Google you. And they Google you or they LinkedIn you. And what if they Google you, eventually what's going to pop up the first? Maybe your Instagram, maybe Facebook, but LinkedIn for sure. So what you need to be sure, to be clear, that if people Google you and you, I don't know how many of you have Googled yourself already? Never? I would suggest try to Google yourself and see what pops. Because you might be surprised, we never know. So maybe it's like someone that tagged you on Instagram or wherever. And so I can remember I was working, I worked and still work a lot with schools. And I can remember one of the teacher, and I Googled him for whatever reason, I don't remember. And then I went directly, the first line was his Instagram. And it was a very awkward picture. I was like, okay, so I don't know what to do with that, but it was not necessarily positive, to be honest. So Google yourself and see what pops. Usually your LinkedIn will pop high, and then they are going to open it, and it has to share the story that people heard about you. And the first thing that they are going to look at is your headline. So that is if you are already visible. So people LinkedIn you, Google you, and then they will find your LinkedIn, and then your headline have to be aligned with what they heard about you. If you are not visible yet, so one way to be visible is your headline, your role that should be searchable, your expertise. That is sometimes how people look at the expert they want to have. And then you have the context and the human signature. So the thing that makes you remembered, the thing that is different than the others candidates. As I said, so this senior project manager, I see that everywhere. And you're like, oh my God, another one. There is a ton of different project manager, and what is your skills and what is your context and what is your like human signature, the thing that you do differently. So here I have a few examples of like project manager before and after, finance before and after, HR before and after. It's really depending. HR, there is so many different kind of HR people. They have different kind of jobs. They have different kind of expertise. They have done so many different things in their life. So we can put that differently as just HR or HR business partner, and that's it. So here as well, I would like, you have the structure on the, I think it's on your left, right? So the structure is searchable role, key expertise problem, the context, in which context you do that, and the human signature. I give you a few minutes to think about it. You can you can ChatGPT you can I don't know how ChatGPT knows you, but maybe you can ask ChatGPT to look at that and find a structure for you, and just pick the one that you find. Yeah, I like this one. You can change it, but that would be the first step. When you have that, is already good. Then you can change all your profile for sure. You have a ton of things to do on LinkedIn, but the headline is the one that make people stay on your profile or just jump away.
I have just one question, Christelle, here regarding the slide you shared before. This corridor sentence, this is what we should use instead of, you put here typical,
Sorry, yes, yeah, yes.
Typical linking description. So this one is not good. We should use better this corridor sentence. Or,
no,
what is
no, the corridor sentence is really something that happened in the corridors, or something that happened during the evening, like the chef looking, like the restaurant owner looking for a new chef. And then saying like, I'm looking for this kind of chefs and so on. And then the other person say, oh, I know the person because she's like that, like that, like that, like that. And that are the corridor sentence, that how people advocate, are your advocates and speak about you.
Okay. And I mean, how can we put this in linking? Because when I'm looking this typical linking description here, it's
now you have to shift it a little bit different. Okay. So for me, so when people speak about me when I am not in the room, they would say she's reliable. She is I have that not that far away, but she is acknowledgeable. She's always present. She is she have a big intuition. She is she can make that we get very clear. She is very when she comes in the room, she makes things that it's so calm. The rooms can calm down. It's something that I hear all the time. Like, I am here. Like someone told me, someone that employs me and say, you just have to be here, and then the room is calm. So these kind of things. So it's that people say, and I kind of like it. I agree with it. So okay, it's exactly the kind of identity I love to have. Like this calmness, this being centered, being very present, being very in connection with people. That's definitely me. Happy that people feel this way. Or when I write something in my newsletter and people say, oh, I just decided to connect with you because I received your newsletter and I felt that and that and that. And it's exactly what I wanted you to feel. Or it's exactly how I want people to see me. To be honest, it should be exactly how you are. It should be authentic. So that's the identity that you have. And then on LinkedIn, yeah, you have like the headline is very short, right? So you cannot really share your story. But there is other places where you can share your story. LinkedIn is very shorter. You should have maybe 1 or 2 words that are your signature. In my LinkedIn, I think it's written like, I like to bring clarity before doing bold move. Because it's not about doing bold move. I don't care about that. I want the clarity. And usually when people have clarity, eventually they will do bold moves or not. But the clarity is the most important. And I think I put that somehow in my LinkedIn profile. And that would be like my human signature.
I think it's an interesting question to ask yourself how other people see you. And I've noticed when I comment on other people's posts, or while writing my posts, I got a lot of feedback about it. And many people share things like, you have a very deep understanding, giving deep insights into people-related topics, understanding personal development. And even my posts are seen as very, as creating a deep emotional connection.
Yes. So that's something that you could put in your headline. I don't know how is your headline right now.
I have my headline is a talent enabler. I think guiding individuals to. Just give me a moment. I have to check the headline.
Yeah. The first
empowering individuals to recognize their talents and leveraging their potential. Their unique potential, thereby transforming teams and organizations.
Okay. The first part, the role should be something kind of standard, because it's something that people search. Like it's like the SEO, like really like searching, like they go in the search bar and then they type it. So that's why it's nice when this one is very, so that's why in the after there is still project manager. There is still HR business partner, because indeed, so that's the first thing that people are going to search for. But after that, we can be, at the end, we can be very free and very creative, because it's really more the recognition part. So it's not something that they are going to search. And I kind of like the call me when decisions are unclear, or call me when, you can really put that in your LinkedIn. It's like, I know exactly what I want. Like, call me when you have conflict in your company. Happy to make a transformation there or whatever. So that's a very like call to action, direct, very transparent, kind of bold. I like that.
And here it's better to use some word, some verb here, because when I compare the before and after digital transformation, you put driving or you put
Yes.
bringing, or so. Okay.
Yes, yeah. Action. Yes.
Okay.
Leading people, or nicht transformation leader, or it's more like leading transformation in people and culture. Bringing clarity. It's really more like that. I bring that, or I drive that. And that makes a difference. And even in your in experience as well, it's nice to have these verbs too. Yeah. And trying to put context in what happens. So where do you do that? In what kind of context you do that? What kind of industry, maybe, if it's relevant? And if you want to be pinned with this industry.
What do you mean, ping with this industry? Sorry, I didn't.
Yeah, well, if you want to be pinned with the automotive industry, then put that here, because you are niched with them. Like in my case, I am pinned, like my context is international women in career or career shift. That's the international and women is definitely my context. It's not industry, it's not companies, my context. I am not looking for B2B. I'm looking for B2C. So that will be more my context. If you want to go in pharma, you can write depending. So you can try to be bold and to write pharma, even if it's not true yet. Or you just let out the industry in this case. But you can write international, you can write the context you want to be seen in. Do you have questions about that? So when you have done that, what you need to do, it's your visibility map. So what you need to do, I said before, LinkedIn is not enough. We need other strategies. And we need to look at where we want to go in order to improve our visibility and to work so that people understand that our name is linked with this problem, like the association I spoke about. So the question is, where do decision makers gather in your field or in the field you want to go if you want to do a career pivot? What is the field? Where are the people? How can you get there? That's the first thing. Then it's interesting to understand the problems that they discuss, the pain point they have. I do that as well. I suggest to do that as well a lot in interview, to really understand the problem that the company has. If they hire you, it's because they have a problem. What is the biggest problem? It might be completely different in this company than the company you worked before. And it's one way to start to have the right strategy and to see that you are interested in the problems and not only the job title. And when you know exactly what is the problem they have, and so you can better show how you do the difference, and then you can share your DNA leadership. You can share why you are so passionate about it. You can share your strengths. You can share your vision. You can share the impact you love to have. You can be more emotional, more practical, but with the DNA leadership, you can really go in all directions. And it's where I would like to come back to you, Omesa, is how can we have like this possibility to connect with the right people, right? So when in a company, well, sometimes a client of mine, what she decided to start to do is like to have lunch with some colleagues, and the lunches are like in the canteen, or it's like a public place. So there were only both of us, but like very public, very open. It was one of our strategy. Another strategy is, because we are in a remote world, so eventually is to have Zoom calls or Teams calls. It's not the same, I agree, but it's a strategy. And I think there we need, especially women, we need to be more creative. We need eventually to be bolder as well, to find new strategies. Even for, I have, like, for my clients that are looking for a new job, right now I have one, and we are going to discuss that on Thursday. We try really to find ways. She's going to send a CV, like very normally, standard way, like visible market, not perfect, not optimal. But what I always try to do is to get her being visible some other ways. to find the right people in the company, to start conversation, non-official conversation, to bring the CV and cover letter, not just to send it when it's possible. So really trying to be creative so that your name pops differently in the list. When it's like a visible market, you can still use both the visible market, but as well the invisible ways to put your name differently on the table. So being creative, trying to find out how you can get where you want to get. And that is something that I don't know how many of you network very specifically or have a strategy to position yourself. How many of you do that really like very consciously and very like a regular basis? Okay. Yeah. Great. Then great job, ladies. I discussed with a guy last week and he told me that he always have been in networking things. He has different kind of networks and he told me all his networks really help him to be where he is right now. So many men use that as first strategy. So really try to find the right room and stick with it. So that is an example of one of my clients. I found this example really interesting. She wanted to, she knew exactly where she wanted to go, but she was terrified about it. And she was already thinking about it for the last 2 years. And she was like, yeah, but she's an international woman. She used a tongue which is not her mother tongue. She's in more men environment. She's Black on top of that. And I believe it makes no difference. But yes, it makes a difference. It's exactly that men believe that it makes no difference that we are women. Yes, it makes a difference. So, and she was really like, the first time she came to me, she was really like always almost apologizing to be there. Like voice was really, really smooth, really soft. Everything in her was like that. I was like, okay, that's going to be difficult. And then she started to explain me what was her problem. She wanted to go there, but she believed she has not the right level in the mother tongue. In the tongue she needed to operate. She had not the right leadership skills, and she thinks that she's not good enough. So we started to look at that. For sure, she was good enough. For sure, I do convinced her that knowledge in the language was good enough. And then we started to work on positioning. So we worked on the leadership DNA. She was referenting credit manager as an advisor for financial solution for development and sustainability in Africa, I think it was. She was good at what she was, but not seen. We started to work on leadership. She has really a very good strategy mind and people mindset as well. She started to position herself, to connect with people, to create clarity to share that is what I can do. I can create clarity in complex system. I can help teams move forward is what I can do. I connect people, I create clarity, we move forward, even in complex systems. That is what I do. And then she repeat that all the time. Is what I want. It's what I can do. And then we started the visibility strategy. So I asked her to invite colleagues to lunch for conversation, to do some Zoom for conversation, to participate in cross-department discussions or projects. to do the presentation herself. It was really difficult for her at the beginning to do the presentation, and she said, "Yeah, I was horrible." But after that, so people started to see her. She was, at least at the end, so well seen that they did a video for the company. She was inside the video, and at the end, she told me, maybe we should recalibrate because I'm really too much in the center of everything now. And last December, she told me, yes, I just been promoted, Referentin General Secretary, so in Vorstandsstab, so in like the executive board office. And she really moved from like a contribution, the the advisor role was like not very strategic. It was more like just doing things. And now she's really in the strategic leadership position and discussions and so on. So she moved from expertise to like influencing the organization. It took her a year to get there. We started to work in January, and in December, she got the job. Yeah. And she feels great. So she was so not her as she came to me. Inside, she was really like a lion. We decided to position ourselves the real way, to restructure our leadership, to position and to go into the visibility. And it really worked very well. That was inside of the company. For some clients, we did kind of the same inside of the company. And her name, it was really interesting because everybody said her name before even she had the CV on the table of the HR. Because we started to reach out to people around to be clear about the role, to be clear about the problem, to be clear about so many things. She was so clear at the end about this new role that cover letter was far richer than at the beginning as she decided to go for the job. Another woman, so we did the same. It was not in the same company, but we could find ways to let her name go through the company as well before even she started to apply. So all by like trying to find other ways, the invisible ways, and trying to be seen, to be linked to the problem. So my presentation doesn't want to go further. Your next step. There is 3 things to do. Get clear about your leadership DNA, your corridor sentence. Get very clear about your identity. That's the first thing. Action 2, be intentional. Start to identify the people, the place, the conversation that you want to be in, or you want to know better. So to know better the person, to know better the environment, to know better the problems. So be intentional where you go. And the action 3 is start telling your story, start positioning yourself, try things, adjust. And it's really a process. It's you don't have to be perfect yet. Just start, and then you will be even better every time you do it again. I do networking events, and sometimes we work on that. And it's really like, it's nice to do networking event, but if you cannot really explain who you are, what you want, and what you can bring, people will not, they will not be able to speak about you. They will not be able to, yeah, this person, they will say, okay, this person was really nice. I don't remember exactly what she does, but really nice. But that's not enough. So be very clear about your story, what you bring, what you want. Be able to say what you want. And to ask for it. So do you have questions about that?
I don't have a question, but I just changed my LinkedIn based on the structure that you said. And I like it much more now, actually.
Perfect.
It's much more revealing, what I'm really doing than just putting some title that is not even, because I don't want to sound like, because I'm doing too many things. People sometimes like, oh, she's doing too many, but in the same time, they can be good or bad. So I wanted something that makes sense now, and not this focus of my, just say, legal and compliance, head of legal and compliance. I'm corporate governance. I'm HR as well. Other things. So I want, and corporate governance is so important. And I drive with AI and these things. I'm like, I need to do something based on the structure you said, and I was thinking a while that I don't like my. And honestly, that was very helpful. Thank you for that.
But it's exactly what you said. It needs to make sense.
Yeah.
And sometimes I know that for me, for my coaching and for my business, it took me years before I knew exactly how I wanted to position myself, because in coaching, I have so many experiences with so many different things, that it was really difficult for me to understand where I am the best and where I feel the most motivated. It took really years. And when you have a lot of interest and you have done a lot of different things, it might be different to put that in a sentence. So one way is to say, I don't care about all the things that I have done. I want to do that. Like I could be mindfulness coach. I could be emotional intelligence coach. I could do that for children. There is so many things that I have done. But it's not the thing I want to be known for. So I don't speak about it. I still have people coming to me for stress management and for children and for mindfulness and so on. Just because people spoke about it and then they come to me, it's just not the thing I want to be. I want to do all the time, and I think there is other people that they can enjoy that more than me. So that's why I just put that away. There is another way to do that as well, is to say that you are very polyvalent, that you are so flexible that you can take so many roles. But that makes sense. Again, it's you have to have the right story. And when people can follow, they can remember. But if it's just like a mess of thousands of things, they cannot really relate with that. So that's the difficulty.
Yeah, well, really some transferable skills in another industry.
Exactly.
This is what because I was looking to change industry, I feel comfortable enough. So now I want to change something I really like. And I was changing this by taking into consideration the position I want next, which is the COO or CEO. And for this, I needed something that is not just function related, but more enterprise wide. So that's why I was thinking both way. What I'm doing now, but I still need to change, I think, the tasks after the description. But the title already is by thinking in the future. Okay, it makes sense. I'm still doing this now, but I want to do this in the future too. So I was thinking, trying to and to follow the structure that you said, which was very useful. Yeah.
Yes, try to and in the about session and so on, there is so many ways to share your vision and so what you want to, the impact you want to have and so on. So yeah, really like sharing the vision, sharing the potential you bring, sharing all that. Yeah, I think we need to focus more on the future, all the things that we can bring, and that helps to help the people to see that too. If we cannot explain that, they cannot see it. So take action. I love that you did that already. And I would suggest, so because you are all here, put in your in the chat, put your LinkedIn, and then you can connect with each other. That is always interesting because all of you have a network, and in the network of others, there is maybe this one person that can be your next support for whatever you want to achieve in the future. So put your LinkedIn in the chat, connect together. And that is maybe not very intentional, but it can help. I think I have all of you. I think I have your LinkedIn. Perfect. So just for you to know, for the ones that are in the academy or have been in the academy, so what we here, so for the one that don't know my work, so here it's what the triangle I focus on in order to get this meaningful, profitable career. And what we have done today is to look a little bit in your USP, your unique selling point. It's like your strengths, the impact you want to have, your value. So it's kind of your USP. It's like very shortly we spend far more time in the program for that, but we did a little bit of that, and that what we did is like visibility. We did a little bit of that too. So the second part of the triangle and the last part of the triangle. In the academy, we work during like 3-4 months to go through all the steps so that at the end you get clarity, you get a roadmap, and you get the actions, and you just get the results at the end. So just for you to understand where we are right now. So having said that, we are at the end. We still have 4 minutes. I would love to know your takeaway from this session. You can open your mic and you can give them if you want, or you can put in the chat. It's up to you. Open for both. What is your takeaway? Maybe what is your next action?
I can start. To some extent, I have gone through the process, and I've seen the changes in the last few months. Just recently, I had an interview process where I really focused on my identity and what I bring to the table, and it was the most successful interview process I've had. And I really saw the change also, not just from the interview perspective, but from how I felt, because it felt so different to just be myself and not focus on my experience and defining myself with the jobs I've done, but connecting my past experience and my approach and my strength with the company and the position. In the end, I think it was a very tight competition with one other person. I didn't get the job, but that doesn't matter because the experience was really good. And what I take away from this workshop is that I can get even clearer about my message, how I want to position myself. I know my strength. I've worked a lot on myself, and I can use different words or clearer impact statements, let's say, to describe it.
Thank you very much, Rosa.
For me, it was very, I started this as, I joined this discovering. I was curious because I didn't have time to go through your profile, Christelle. I like the exchange we had, your post, but I'm a bit active, but I'm also very, very busy. So I didn't really have time to go through it. But then I said, last minute, I think today, I'm like, but you know what? It was interesting. Let me try what this is. I'm going to listen. I'm going to see what that is. And every time I was like, wow, so very well surprised. It was, and because I've done this kind of sometimes in the past in the company, the coachings and all this test of profiles, what kind of profile you are, and Myers-Briggs and DISC and whatever. What I really like and the key takeaways for me was so important that first, because it was a very good surprise. I've done coaching, and this one is very like concrete. And I like that, because a lot of coaching that I've done or things was thinking, theories, or oh, that's good, you do this and that. And now this one is much more discussion, concrete. And I was saying 2 hours, that's a lot. What are we going to say in 2 hours? Actually, I didn't even see the timing go. And I'm like, oh, it's already 10. I didn't realize that. And so it was such a good surprise. And doing these changes for me is such impactful, but in a silent way, like not noisy, not too much marketing, really very silent, very quiet, very like simple and exchange and in harmony. And I just did change my profiling thing, so it was a concrete action. So I was like, wow, that's actually quite powerful, very interesting session we had today.
Perfect, perfect.
Yeah,
really happy about that. And you are not the only one that changed something. So Maria changed something as well in her LinkedIn profile. So great.
Yes, thank you so much. Also from my side, it was my first round with you live, and we
Yes,
had
exactly.
lots of exchanges on LinkedIn, but from a time constraint, I never could join. So now I'm happy, and I would say the same as Ornessa. It was so pragmatic. A very good also insights from you, Christelle, in what you got from studies, also some market research, etc., which gives a good vision also about how the market is today, how it evolves, and what we should be careful on when we market ourselves. I found also your tips and also the discussions with the rest of the ladies really fruitful. Also how to improve our presence on the social media. Yeah. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Nadine.
And yeah, I would like also to add, I mean, I think it was interesting because there was a new, I will say, concept we discussed today, corridor sentence, for example. So really, really interesting what we heard about how to be more visible here. And I took many notice for the next call we will have to get together to see how we can, bring this more in from theory to practice. It was really great. It was also interesting to hear about the other ladies being there tonight, about their experience and so on. So it's not only like a workshop where you will tell us something, where we will learn something. I mean, it was a good mix also here between learning and human aspect with other persons. So thank you very much making this this workshop with all of us.
Thank you, Corinne.
And lastly, I just can reckon all the flattery. Completely well deserved, and completely not unknown to me already. I'm not gonna hide, I know you from your program that I joined earlier this month, and I'm super happy with. And my takeaway, in addition to that, is once again, as the previous takeaways you've already heard, Christelle, I validate I'm right here, right now, where I need to be, on the right track, in the right time. And I'm extremely grateful because that was probably the second time I've verbalized outside my brain how I want to end up remembered, meaning that was the one thing that I really, really want to focus on from now on. And it now helped somehow I received sort of a domino effect, the realization how maybe the next steps should go. So
Okay.
that gives me quite a confidence actually, and I feel lighter suddenly because I was getting very worried how I'm going to get from right here, right now, where I am with everything to where I want to end up somewhere far, far, far in the future.
Mm.
So thank you so much for that. It's a treasure that will help me sleep better tonight.
Perfect, perfect. Okay, perfect. Thank you very much, all of you. I really hope, yes, it helps. So that's the idea of this workshop for the ones that are with me in coaching. So we are going to continue on that, definitely. So I am in different level. Like for some of us, we are more there. For some of us, we are more there. So we will continue. But I thought that this workshop would help as well to have the biggest picture. And for some of you that are not in coaching with me, I'm going to open the academy. Not in April, but in May. But I'm going to start the process shortly. So if you want to just know how it works, so you can just contact me. We have a discussion. We look at if it's interesting or not, and then we will see. That's it for today. I'm really glad that we are almost on time, because for those that know me, it's not always the case. Corinne?
No, I just wanted to say bye-bye. I have to leave. I am
Yes,
flying
exactly.
tomorrow morning. So I saw you were finished. So I just wanted to say like this.
Yeah.
So yeah, I didn't want to interrupt. Now I made it. So I'm so sorry. Have a nice evening, and let's talk another day. Bye-bye.
Bye, Corinne. And
Bye.
yes, I would say bye to all of you. I hope you will have a peaceful night, and then we see each other on LinkedIn or somewhere else, hopefully. Yes. Have a
Thank
nice
you. Have a
evening.
nice
Thank
evening. Bye.
you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.